It's a book. Hello everybody, and welcome to Shug's Book Club. It's a lonely club. It's just me here in the club. I actually wrote a foreword for this book, and it's by Tony Jones. And I was on Tony's podcast. I've been on a couple of times over the last few years. His podcast is called Reverend Hunter for two reasons. He's a reverend, or should I say an ex-reverend, and he's a hunter currently. And his hunting and his canoeing, he sees it the same way I see the backwoods. It's a spiritual journey, and he wrote this book. It's one of those situations where somebody, asks you to do something, like read their book and then write a foreword to it. And my first feeling was kind of like, I love reading. I'm an avid reader. I read all the time. But I was going, oh man, what if I don't like it? Then I got to write a foreword, and then I got to be kind of fakey with it. I started reading this book called The God of Wild Places. And it spoke to me. This book is good on so many levels. I've never read a book that goes into the philosophy of meat, protein, hunting. I've never had it described to me like Tony does in this book as a way of part of his healing process from being an ex-pastor, sort of an excommunicated pastor, and life kind of, everything's going great one minute and then it's not. And it is his journey and a relationship with God, and it's like falling out with a really good friend, and the people that sort of leave him in his time of distress and the people that stand beside him in his time of distress and sorrow and searching and the saddest time in his life. Just a great book. So what I really like about it is it deals with hunting, canoeing, being outside, nature, spirituality. I always feel very spiritual when I'm in the woods. I do find my peace in the woods. One thing I found really interesting that Tony said in this book, he says when he goes to the woods, he brings peace with him. Now, I thought that was really interesting because I've always said when I go to the woods, I find my peace there. I'll be honest with you, I'm just not always comfortable in the real world, but what circus clown is. So I recommend this book, The God of Wild Places. And it's really fun to see a foreword that you have written in a book. And I'll just read you the foreword that I wrote for him. When I wrote this foreword, I was trying to be honest, and I was also trying to sound smart, but be honest. And this is what I wrote. Tony certainly does not hide behind his vestments in this book. He sheds his armor, and his heartfelt honesty comes forth. His truthfulness is at times uncomfortable, as truth often is. I felt this book deeply. Tony stepped from a man-made pulpit and church building with a flock following his words and into a true wilderness to feel his faith unobstructed in the wild. No walls or ceilings, pure connection. Although Tony's belief is still deep, his new point of view is making clearer his faith, his belief in family, in nature, in himself. Never have I read a book that goes so deeply and personally into the act of hunting and meat as a healing and profound revelation. As a backpacker and canoeist, I very much connected with Tony's new point of view of celebrating reverence in the wilds. Sean Shug Emery, backpacker, hammocker, canoeist, YouTube content creator. No college degree other than clown college. So, if you're a reader, I'll put the link below where you can get this book. It's on Tony's site. It's a really good read. This book, I was reading it on my phone because the book just came out. As I read it, there were those times I laid the book on my chest and just kind of had to think and mull about what I had just read. And yes, religion weaves its way through it, and I found that really interesting because it's a questioning and it's a certainty of religion. Am I a religious person? I don't even know. I was raised Catholic. I don't go to an actual brick and mortar cathedral or church, but I go to the woods and I feel the spirits, I'll just say spirits on many levels. If you're a reader, give this book a read and, you know, and support somebody that supported me. He's had me on the podcast, which, you know, if you're a subscriber of mine, you can go to the community page, and there's a couple of links in there of podcasts I've done in the past with the Reverend Hunter podcast. I'll link all this stuff below. I appreciate you watching. I just thought, you know, being an outdoor channel and outdoors people would really enjoy this book. It's a beautiful book. Even the relationship with his hunting dogs and the dogs that have passed on that he has no more, and the new dogs he gets while he goes pheasant hunting in North and South Dakota. I think North Dakota. Just great story. So that's my recommendation. Appreciate your time watching this. Tony Jones, the God of Wild Places. Rediscovering the divine in the untamed outdoors. Woo, buddy, everybody, all secure in Sector 7. I just got myself a really cool new instrument. I ordered it about 6 months ago. It's an octave mandolin, but it's electric with a bass pickup, and it's called the Ellie Octo. And all I can say is it is fun. Just plain fun. A whole different beast. I've only had it about 4 days, and I'll tell you what, woo, buddy! Let me bring this thing outside where the light is good. So it's tuned an octave below a regular mandolin. So Seymour Duncan bass pickup in there. Got a wraparound bridge. Tone, volume. West Virginia spruce top. I have this bass right here. This is a Sterling by Music Man Stingray, Indonesian made. And I'm taking the neck off here. I already took it off. And I'm going to take all these frets out and make this a fretless bass. Today, it's really cool. I had a black pick guard on it, and I've added this red one. I think that looks really good. And then that will be a fretless bass. I like that red with that black. Roasted maple. I got Hipshot tuners on there. I changed out the tuning machines from what came with it, and these are much better. But I like a lot of the black hardware on it. Pretty cool looking bass. So that'll be fun. Basses are really fun to work on. I like taking them apart and doing stuff. I painted some juggling clubs and a derby on my old pink bass, my G&L JB2. You know, it was pink. I just wanted to have some fun with it, kind of make it look a little punk. I can always take the paint off if I need to. That's the easy thing. I would never do this like with my mandolins and stuff. They're way too expensive. Case in point, my good old Northfield mandolin here. That's way more expensive than a bass.